Hey gang. So like a lot of people who first started out with fidgets, like off cheap fidget spinners that we found just in stores. When I bought this, I had no idea that this was actually a knockoff. It was just my first experience with a spinner. It looked cool. My kids had the plastic ones, and I wanted something a bit heavier. So I bought this. I never got rid of it because, I mean, why would I get rid of it? But I didn't realize I was buying a knockoff of I believe it's a Russian design spinner. So, anyways, but this was, you sort of start into them, and then it was a fad for a while. We'd play with them, and then you get, you sort of put them in the drawer, and that's it. And you don't think about it for years. And then I got into just last year, I just sort of figured out spinners, sliders, fidgets, etc. So I got into fidgets, and I hadn't touched new spinners since then, since that kind of early phase with my kids. So I first got into everything. I bought a Magnus wing off of Pluke Jones, and Mark Chang was shipping it for him. And so I got talking to Mark Chang, got to meet him, great guy, and he had a spinner. He had a Loudy Bit 1 or 2, I believe. And he said, you really have to try this. If you like spinners, I said, that actually looks really cool. So I bought it off him, and when he shipped it to me, he gave me an extra gift. So I ended up the Loudy Bit spinner. It felt a bit too heavy. I think it was stainless steel, and it was just a bit too heavy on my fingers, so it wasn't as fun to hold. But then I really started getting into this. This is the free gift that Mark gave me. This is the Mackie Time Traveler, and I absolutely love this thing. I play with this constantly. My kids play with it. If it's in the living room, people are picking it up and spinning it. And what is crazy about this is it's an asymmetrical design. So that asymmetry really kind of adds a weird but really fun tactile action to it, because you can kind of, it depends on how you change up how you grab it and how you spin it. So sometimes, you're going to kind of go out far with your index and you're going to spin it, and then you stop it. And then other times you're just going to kind of sort of act the way it acts, kind of like a Loudy Bit or one of these smaller spinners. So you kind of have I guess what I'm saying is you get almost like two spinners in one. You get kind of like the wider wing spinners that a lot of people like because, maybe for bigger hands it's a little easier to reach out and grab and spin. But then you also get the little short side as well. And so you get these little kind of mini spinner feel. And what's crazy is the balance. So this thing is actually perfectly balanced. Like, look at that. It's not spinning, it's not rotating. I mean, if I give it a little tap, it'll start to move. But you would think that this end would be so much heavier than the short end. But honestly, it's like almost perfectly balanced. Now, anytime I say something's perfectly balanced, I show my wife and she goes, look at it. And then it starts doing this little move. But that's because that's my fault, because maybe I didn't hold it properly. But like, you can put it at an angle and it does not rotate. Typically, it won't move out of that position because, again, it's perfectly balanced. It's crazy. Like, look at that. It doesn't matter what position you put it in. So it's just so much fun, and it sounds cool. I don't know, here, maybe you can hear this. I'm going to put it over here to the mic. But I have to do it properly. So you get this whirring sound, like this little whirl weird thing. Anyways, this thing I love. Sometimes I'll just kind of hold it and pretend I'm a tough guy with some kind of weird dagger, which this would literally just break my fingers if I hit anything like that, but whatever. Okay, let's go. We're going to look at a close-up of it on the mat. I'll take it apart and show you, but honestly, man, I love this thing. I think it's titanium too. I don't know much about the buttons. I'd love to upgrade the button to something better because I'm never going to let this go. But I would love to upgrade it. So if anybody has any suggestions out there, please let me know in the comments, because as much as I sort of got into this, I'm still kind of new when it comes to spinners and buttons, and are all buttons universal? Do they all fit? I don't think they do. So yeah, I'd love some recommendations on if there are other buttons out there I can get for this. Okay, so let's have a look at this on the mat. Okay, so we have a really cool design. Now, clearly this has been hollowed out to remove some of the weight so that it balances with the other side. But this thing is such a cool, unique look to a spinner. I haven't seen any other spinners out there that look like this. If there is, please, again, let me know in the comments. But man, I love this thing. It's so unique. It feels interesting when you're holding it. So let's open it up. And again, I would love to hear some suggestions on what kind of buttons I can get to swap out with this, because I'm not really a button guy. I don't know. You know, the button itself just doesn't feel like much. It's kind of a cheapie. The spinner itself is titanium. Let's see. There we go. Come on, buddy. Focus. 24. So this is the 24th one. And you can see the bearing in there. Now I can actually pop the bearing out. I don't have my tool handy with me, but obviously I can just sort of pop that out. I wish I knew what... Look at me. Oh, here we go. It's a well-planned video, gang, where I say I could do it, I'm not going to do it, and literally in the middle of that sentence, I start doing it. But this is kind of the, I guess, the way of a YouTuber, right? You think you have your plan in place, but we just kind of wing it a lot of the time. So, let me see here. It's the inside. Now, I don't really know anything about bearings. I don't know if there's an upgrade to this that would make it better. But there it is. Doesn't look like much. Again, if anybody has a recommendation on bearings too, I would love that. I'd love to know. Because this thing works great as it is. But if I can improve it, then I absolutely would. Because it is so much fun and it's just worth it. Let's see, should I struggle and put this back on camera or back together while on camera? Why not? I'll let you guys scream at me from the comments. I know there are tools. I have a couple that have come with other fidgets. I just didn't get it out because I didn't prepare for this part, which is awesome. All right, so that's in place. I mean, it's just so cool looking. I know it's not for everybody, but there's something really, like, if I'm gonna have kind of like a cool spinning toy that does some weird stuff, then I want it to look sci-fi. I want it to look cool. And then that's it. Man, I love this thing. And it spins really well, too. Like, if we put it down here... Let's see. Now, it's not going to be like your really, really high-end spinners in terms of spinning forever. I know the Loudy bit would spin for, like, minutes. But it's pretty good. I mean, it goes for a while. I'm just going to stop it. And it also just kind of sits. I mean, that's kind of stupid. You can't see it from that angle, but it does just kind of rest when you put it down. So it's kind of its own little showpiece at the same time. Like, it's a toy, it's a spinner, but it's also a cool little design. So that's it. That's the Mackie Time Traveler. I also have no idea why it's called Time Traveler. I mean, it kind of looks like the letter T, I guess. It looks futuristic, but I have no idea, other than that, why it would be called a Time Traveler. But it's cool. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys.